Same thing with municipalities. Do you really need every township and city doing their own equalization? Or could you have county equalization, a county equalization department? Could you have county roads departments? Does every city need its own roads? And other divisions as well, police, fire. I think there are cases where you could save a lot of money and not lose any police officers or any firefighter. I'm not talking about cutting the service or adding to response times. I'm talking about eliminating administration, cutting bureaucracy, and so consolidating some of those administrative pieces of it. But in the case of police and fire, look into regional police and fire. If we could provide top quality service, and I think in some cases you might be able to actually save money and lives, because you would have less need for mutual aid. Right now, a lot of small cities and townships rely on mutual aid, where a department has to come in after the fact and assist, and that's fine, it's important, but if you had a regional department, you might not need it might be a matter where they're more coordinated from the get-go because they're one department serving a metropolitan region. I think now is the time for us to really look at the quality of services in Michigan. We want to maintain that, and to look at the method of delivery. I think most Michiganders, care about, of course, the quality, whether the patch it says it's from my city or my township, or quality services in another way, and save money. Now is the time to do that more than ever. I've been pushing for that in my city. It's difficult. We started by just doing it within departments of the city and our Board of Water and Light. We're looking to have one central garage for all the vehicles. So again, we haven't had the impetus in the past to move very quickly. I think now we have to move a little faster, or else people are going to have to pay more for the same service, and nobody wants to do that. I think the state needs to lead those efforts. You look at revenue sharing. As a mayor, I've been on the receiving end of the budget cuts because the state just doesn't have the money to keep paying every city like they have. Revenue is down. So it may be that a carrot and stick approach could be used by the state with revenue sharing, where you reward those communities that are engaging in regional service, regional activities, and the ones that want to continue to go at their own, when they could save money through greater efficiency, maybe they get less state aid. We do have to, again, it's a crisis. We have less money available, and the state needs to find a way to encourage greater regional cooperation. We've really been pushing that in my city with the Lansing Board of Water and Light. And I understand that the president has put a lot of dollars, the federal government and the president have made a lot of dollars available with weatherization and tax incentives for if people do change their windows, doors, that sort of thing, that there are tax deductions in place. I want to work with the administration in Washington. I will be doing that, partnering with the president on this and a lot of other issues to make sure that we draw down on every dollar, every dime of federal money available to really promote this. And I think in some cases, it's a matter of getting the word out to people, and education. I mean, in some cases, it's how do you do it? How would I tap into some money available? In some cases, it's educating people about just how much an inefficient refrigerator, freezer, in their garage is costing them. Some people don't realize what a leaky window is costing them and how quickly they can recoup that money. Or if you can convince them to unplug that fridge or freezer downstairs or in the garage, just what it would save them. Some people, just out of convenience, they get so out of habit, they've got a second refrigerator and they're hardly using it, and they end up spoiling most of the stuff out there, and they think they're saving money because when something's on sale, they're filling up the freezer, when really they'd be better off going out and buying it right then. They'd save money because of what it's costing them in electricity. So there's an education role, and then there's actually implementing the efficiencies. The state should be working with the federal government to draw down every dollar and to educate people. Working with DTE, working with consumers, working with our public utilities to make sure that message gets out, that there are programs available, that there's money available to make energy efficient savings. Obviously, we have to make sure that people's heat is not being turned off, that their water is not being... well, it's emergency assistance. I mean, we need to grow those emergency assistance programs in tough times. We have to make sure that there's enough money I see it as my role, just like I do now as mayor. I work closely with the Board of Water and Light, who provides electricity in our city. I monitor it very carefully. In the winter, I'm talking to the director of the Board of Water and Light. You know, in the winter, we talk every week or every 2 weeks. I mean, I monitor the policies very carefully about what they're doing in terms of electric shutoff, and they're not turning off heat. You know, we talk to consumers about the gas. And so, you know, we've avoided any, we haven't had any incident of somebody being frozen in their home in Lansing. I'll be monitoring it very carefully as governor, and I will fight to make sure in the budget that we've got enough money for home heating assistance, and to make sure that nobody loses their children because the water is cut off. And then it comes back to, you know, the economic activity. It comes back to the economic development, which we led with. And that's why I'm proposing, you know, such a dramatic, revolutionary program like Make It in Michigan for Free, and why I'm so committed. And my economic plan, you know, the Main Street agenda is bold and it is specific. We're not going to wait. You know, we're not going to wait for Wall Street to decide that Michigan is worthy of investment. We're going to do it now. That's why I said we're going to get that $1 billion back. It's bold. These are bold steps. When I went to the Detroit Economic Club and told them, you know, look, we need you to do better, and I chastised the big banks, I didn't get a standing ovation at the Detroit Economic Club at all. But I told them what they needed to hear, which is, if you're willing to treat people decent and work with me and you know, be honest, you know, you'll have a great ally in my administration. But if you think you're gonna, if you're gonna take the Wall Street greed approach to taking everything you can and riding roughshod over people, you're gonna have a problem with Virg Bernero. That's got to be cleaned up. As a mayor, myself, Brenda Lawrence as mayor of Southfield, we know what it takes to turn around cities, and we know how terrible the redlining problem is. It is a penalty. It's an absolute penalty for people to live in Detroit. It's unfair. It's outrageous. It must be dealt with. And it's, as you say, people should be, and now they're talking about credit scoring. Now they're talking about increasing people's car insurance. Apparently, and now it's legal in Michigan to count on, look at their credit score and charge them for car insurance. And I can tell you, I'll fight that. I'll do everything I can to stop that. I'll work in the legislature. You know, if I need to, I think it's the law. The legislature has to act, but I will do everything I can. The governor had done everything she could against credit scoring, but they went around her to the Supreme Court, I believe, and got a ruling. It's obscene. It is obscene what's going on. I'm going to stand up for regular people. Your car insurance should be based on your driving record. Period. Period. Your car insurance rates should be based on your driving record. That's what I will fight for. The driver responsibility fee was a huge mistake that the legislature passed. It's wrong, it's punitive, it's way over the top, it's driving people, pushing people into criminality. That, along with the redlining, is among my top priorities to fix for our urban centers. Yeah, well, yes, and especially in the winter months, and we've essentially established that in my city. I mean, I can't say there's more time. There's a protocol for it to make sure that there aren't children, that you know, the age of the person is taken into account. I mean, we do very few. We monitor it carefully, but you know, that may be a safer, better way to go. I'm certainly willing to work with those groups on that.